think about it day and night. I feel like a king, oh yeah. And baby, can't help but stand. Such a rush, baby. I want you to touch me, baby. Such a rush, baby.
Well, what a rush. Well, I'm excited to be here. We got a great show for you. This is Viva ENT Talk Radio. And we got not only the dude here, the show dude, Devin. Young dude.
Hey, show dudes.
Hey, dudes.
We're doubling down today. I got Darren here with me.
Hello, everybody.
And Jeff on the line.
Hello, everybody.
And of course, we got the best producer, the west side of the Milky Way.
The west side of the Milky Way.
I haven't been to the east side yet, so
it's Eric CC Reidar.
And we're talking about the year 1996. And before we get started, I got to mention the Facebook group, Viva ENT Talk Radio, Rock, Pop, and Soul. It's got 1,300 members and growing by the day, and it's a great community of musicians and music lovers, and we're all a part of the group. So
very interactive group.
Yeah, it's nonstop there. There's always something happening on that group.
Fun.
And I got to mention my YouTube channel, Devin Creisler Studios. Over 1,750 band videos and more uploading by the day as I keep going to more shows. Videoed 12 bands this week. I just got to go post all those. So,
wow.
But yeah, what were you guys up to in 1996?
Jeff, go ahead.
Man, 1996. I was in high school. Like, just got my driver's license. So
wow.
That's about where I was. A lot of the music we're going to talk about today, I had the compact disc. For the compact disc player. Back then, a lot of the cars had tape players, and if you wanted to listen to your compact discs, you had to have a tape adapter into a portable CD player.
Into the CD to the cassette deck.
Which you got at like Radio Shack. That was state of the art.
Yeah.
And you had to be careful not to go over any potholes, otherwise the song would skip.
Right.
Right. Take it slow on those bumps, speed bumps.
Yeah, those anti-shock or whatever they call them weren't that reliable.
The anti-skip technology.
Yeah,
it did work pretty well after like the second or third generation of those, but to begin with, you were skipping. It was like playing a vinyl record or something in your car,
or buffering a video these days.
Yes, exactly.
Low cell service. 1996 setting the stage. Like big movies like Independence Day came out. We've gone through a bunch of the big shows like Mission. Tom Cruise is on fire with Mission Impossible, and Jerry Maguire.
Right, with his famous line from Jerry Maguire, "Show me the money."
Yep. And I've had a busy week. We went and saw Journey and Toto on Monday.
Yeah, that's right. Last night. That was incredible.
You're both wearing your Journey t-shirts.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
Now it was
I
a great
ask.
who
opened for who?
Toto opened for Journey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Steve Lukather, of course, the main driving force behind Toto, is there singing and playing guitar and just incredible. And
how did he sound?
Oh, they all sounded great. Yeah, no, they've been taking care of themselves and their voices and their sound, their practice, because they were tight. And very tight.
Journey played like 19 songs, so yeah. So, and I got video of it all on my new phone, so it's getting on the internet soon.
Yeah, and of course Neil Schon, the guitar player for Journey, just incredible. The guy is one of the most amazing guitar players ever. Somebody who I actually met in the Kingdom in 1984 at the NCAA Final Four. He sat behind me and my family, and so I turned around and got his autograph during one of the games. But Neil Schon, and he was a nice guy. He actually was very personable. That was right after he had put out the album HSAS Through the Fire, with Hagar, Sean, Aronson, and Shreve. So I talked to him about that a little bit that day, but he is an incredible guitar player and he was on fire last night.
Yeah. And some other bands that I've been going around lately, like the Herding Cats at the Lime. Those guys, yeah, check them out. They're there every Sunday and they play every song.
Yeah. They do it. The great covers, and their drummer is an amazing showman.
Voodoo Gear Shift. It's just so many that I'll be posting here soon of the bands we've been covering. Like Monday night last week, it was like 7 bands recorded. So
7 bands. Fun,
yeah,
fun.
Impressive. Just impressive.
But back in 1996, I was only 1 year old. I was still dreaming of these musical days. And MTV2 was launched with the first video, "Where Is Ack" by Beck. And I guess you're a Beck fan, right?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, that was off his second album, which was follow up to his first album, Mellow Gold, which didn't really produce much in the way of hits. But
well, I mean, Loser.
I was
It
gonna say,
was
that
just
was
such
what
a
Loser was
massive
on,
hit,
though, right?
Other than Loser,
Right.
The B side on Loser was a decent song, but none. I mean, Beck Odelay, which was
a real
actually,
breakthrough.
Yeah, and it was actually produced by the Dust Brothers, which Dust Brothers are famous for their production of Paul's Boutique, which is probably the biggest hip hop sampled album. I mean, there's hundreds of samples on Paul's Boutique, and they produced that album too. And you can, if you listen to the whole album, you can hear some similarities.
And so I got a question for you guys. How do you test sound at a Beck concert? You're a sound guy.
What's that?
How do you test sound at a Beck concert?
How's that?
Beck 1 2. Beck 1 2. Anyways,
but
yeah. I don't quit I'm not quitting my day job anytime soon. Yeah, I got a 45 days straight of shows and only 35 years more to go here where I'm retiring from showbiz. But I probably will never actually retire the way the pace I'm going right now.
Right.
But so do you know the number 1 song of 1996?
It wasn't number 1 in my heart, but I understand why it's number 1.
It's the Macarena, Lois Del Rio.
It had a very famous dance attached to it.
I had a little toy as growing up that would dance the Macarena.
Oh, very cool.
And sing it.
Yeah, I don't think this is a great song by any stretch, and it's interesting that it was a very specific remix, the Bayside Boys remix, that was the big hit. But it was kind of a throwback in a way to like the 60s when there was all these novelty dances that all had a song that went with that novelty dance, like the twist, the mashed potato, etc., that were big hits. I don't think we saw like a specific do this dance song be a hit in between the 60s and 96.
Right.
Electric Slide.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's a good point. So in the 70s there was Electric Slide, but it wasn't this big. The Macarena was a cultural phenomenon.
Still gets played sometimes.
Yeah.
And this is number 1 greatest one-hit wonder of all time, VH1 says.
I believe it. Yes.
And all-time Latin song.
And I mean, it is kind of an unlikely hit. I mean, I think because it's got the dance beat help make it really popular, but Los Del Rios, or also known as the Del Rios for some reason, they were a Latin pop group and they were older guys. I mean, these guys, I think, were probably in their 50s or 60s when this song was a big hit. So that, and the fact, that they were from Spain, I believe, kind of made them very unlikely to be big in the U.S., but they
Yeah,
did it.
And the Los Rios Del Rios, that's just the English interpretation of the Spanish.
Yeah, exactly. And I just thought that everybody knew that. So that the fact that they would be the Del Rios
Right.
just seemed funny to me.
Well, the song has Viva vibes for sure.
It's still, like you said, being played quite a bit at weddings and
Dance halls.
probably some funerals too. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people cover that song too.
Now, did any of you guys do the Macarena?
No.
Growing up, yeah, like long time ago in school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I still know it. I got it.
I don't actually know the moves to it, but I remember this being a big
Yeah, I don't
thing
either.
that
I don't
everybody was
recall them
doing,
either.
like-
Yeah,
I never learned it.
even
probably like the
Al-
YMCA. Huh?
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
It's an earworm. I mean,
Definitely.
So another thing that happened in 1996 at the MTV Music Video Awards, Van Halen makes a surprise appearance with the original singer David Lee Roth. But,
Yeah, and of course that came after, obviously, some turmoil within the band. With, of course, David had left and Sammy had come on for about 10 years, and then they tried to do an album with Gary Cherone, the singer from Extreme, Van Halen 3, and it was really a flop. None of the songs were on any of their compilations or anything afterwards, and then of course that year in 1996 Van Halen put out the Best of Van Halen Volume 1, which included not only the last song that Sammy Hagar had sung for them, which was for the Twister soundtrack, but they also put on the last two or the two new David Lee Roth songs that he had come in 96 and recorded, Me Wise Magic and Can't Get This Stuff No More.
wow.
and didn't it take like 15 minutes for that reunited with Van Halen to kind of blow up? And
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I believe like David Lee Roth was like, "Hey guys," and then like
There are a couple
we're done.
songs, yeah.
Yeah.
After the set,
It was literally like the press conference after their appearance where they're like, "Yeah, we can't really see working with him again."
Right.
well,
He had a great voice, but behind the scenes, he was sort of, in a lot of turmoil.
Apparently.
yeah. Well, one of these songs that is next on our list is not a flop. It's One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey. And this holds the record as like the longest song #1 on the Billboard charts ever.
Yeah, well, she teamed up with Boyz II Men on this one, so you knew it was going to be a hit. I mean, we spent like the last 6 years of shows where we're covering the 90s talking about how big Boyz II Men were and how big Mariah Carey were in the 90s. And then you put them together, and of course, you're going to have one of the biggest hits of the decade.
Combine forces like that, yeah, it's gonna
Absolutely.
make a hit.
But I always care. And I miss the love we share. Shining down on me from heaven. Like so many friends we've lost the love away. And I know we eventually will be together. One sweet day.
And Rolling Stone readers poll called it the best collaboration of all time.
Really?
I did not know that.
I mean, I believe it. I mean, Boyz II Men, they've got a super, distinct sound with the four guys, but her voice fits in there perfect. And I'm kind of shocked they didn't do more together.
Yeah, I was going to say she's really hitting some great high notes there with, them sort of doing a little lower register behind her.
And
Very, very good mix.
spent 16 weeks topping the chart. So
Wow.
yeah, she's probably
Amazing.
hanging out on her yacht after that.
Yeah, they must have made $1 gazillion from this song.
Right.
Wow. Well, number 3 for the year dethroned this song that would have been even a longer streak. It's Celine Dion's "Because You Loved Me," and she's Canadian and
Famous, one of the many famous Canucks.
Yes. I think everybody associates Celine Dion most famously with the Titanic
Of course.
soundtrack, and My Heart Will Go On. But
Yeah.
you know,
that's next year, 97.
Yeah, she was already a superstar by the time that Titanic came out.
Right. And listen to that voice.
You're the one who held me up, never let me fall. You're the one who saw me through it all. You were my strength when I was weak. You were my voice when I
And this was the theme song for the 1996 film Up Close and Personal. And it was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Original Song and the Golden Globe Award for Best Original Song. It was also nominated for Grammy Award, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. But it won Grammy Award for Best Written Song for Visual Media. You remember the song, Jeff?
Yeah, and as soon as you hear it, you're like, that song belongs in a movie. But I couldn't put my finger on it, so. But I don't know if Up Close and Personal is in my library of movies, but
I don't think I've seen it either. Yeah.
Another one where the soundtrack is more famous than the movie itself.
Right.
I'll have to go and watch these movies that have a 90s binge.
You know, sounds kind of like a rom drum to me, but
Rom drum.
it's actually probably a rom drum.
Well, Nobody Knows, like number 4 for the year by Tony Rich.
Tony Rich Project, yeah. Yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere with this big hit.
Wish I told her how I feel. Maybe she'd be here right now. But instead,
This was his only real big hit. I mean, he followed it up with top 50 single Like a Woman, but after that, it just kind of dried up hit-wise for Tony Rich. But, you know, to score a number 2 in 1996.
Oh, that's big.
You know,
Big deal.
that would have probably set you up for life.
Yeah.
This is off his debut album, Words. Before people were saying word.
Word up.
You should have teamed up with Cameo.
There you go. That was a decade earlier.
Yeah.
That was in 86.
You get your one-hit wonders together, and you know, you might do like the flip side to the Mariah Carey Boys to Me kind of thing.
And this was nominated for Best Grammy Award for Best Male Pop Vocal Performance. Jeff, you know anything about Tony Rich?
yeah, I mean, this kind of style of music is Babyface. You know, I mean, I think it would have done. He would have done a little better, like in '93, '94, when this kind of music was super popular. But yeah, I mean, this is I mean, you heard it all the time. Pretty cool. I think the production's really good on that.
Yeah.
Good song.
Yeah, I enjoy this one too.
No, like Jeff's right. The production value of this is really good.
Yeah, I mean
all the parts very distinctly.
And that flamenco guitar, just
Yeah.
the touches of it,
Yeah.
it's very kind
Subtle.
of distinct and different from most of the R&B that you were hearing at the time, for sure.
And 1996, like big shows like Seinfeld was big and Friends. And on January 28th, Chris Isaak makes a great appearance, a guest appearance on the television show Friends. Did you guys watch Friends back then?
Oh, of course.
What about you, Jeff?
I did not.
More a Seinfeld
missed
fan? Or?
that. Yeah, definitely watch Seinfeld. But
Me too. I'm more of a Seinfeld
I mean,
fan.
I've got a lot of friends and stuff that were big into it, but I never really watched it.
Well,
I used to love Joey say, "How you doing?" One of his big
don't
lines.
get me wrong, Jennifer Aniston. Here we go, but
Oh yeah, all three of them. My goodness.
Well, the next day, January 29th, Garth Brooks refuses to accept his American Music Award for favorite overall artist, briefly explaining his belief that all music is made up of a lot of people. Yeah, that's
so other people, in other words, deserve the award just as much as he did.
It takes a village to make these songs and these productions happen.
Absolutely.
Like when I'm behind the scenes as a stagehand, like I was working John Mayer at the New Climate Pledge Arena. It's like takes so much to set up the equipment, and I mean, just inventing all this equipment took a lot. So can't just say you're one person. Well, March 4th, the Beatles' second reunion song was released, "Real Love." John Lennon, you remember that one?
I do. Yeah. Of course, it was the second one, as you mentioned, to come out after.
It was "Free as a Bird."
Was the first one archival song that they pulled out to finish and release, and then this "Real Love" thing that John had demoed back in 1980, and that they'd finish up. Great production quality, because of course you got George Martin and and all the power of Abbey Road Studios and the Beatles behind that project.
Was a sample of "Real Love."
Yeah. I think I kind of like this one just a little better than "Free as a Bird." But I think both were, surprisingly good considering how they were formed,
Sure.
that they were basically just a demo that John had put together, and then the rest of the guys came in and kind of layered their parts. It wasn't like in the old days where they all kind of wrote together and developed a tune. So it ended up turning out pretty good. And part of that is, the production. Jeff Lynne from ELO was heavily involved with both of these recordings, I believe.
And Traveling Wilburys, he's also one.
Well, Jeff Lynne was part of the Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is interesting how the Beatles just kind of keep coming back and having moments like this. In the 90s, the anthology thing and these two new tracks were, a really big thing. It's kind of like now with Get Back, it's like a cultural phenomenon all over again, It's like every 20 years or so, the Beatles are back in a big way.
Oh, it's not even every 20 years, dude. It's every couple of years. Seriously. I mean, it is.
Well, I mean, for Beatles fans, it definitely is. But to have it punctuate the complete culture, like this did, like Anthology did, and like Get Back is doing now, it's, probably every 20 years, I would think.
And Paul McCartney comes to Seattle every now and then, so I'm excited to see him in a month and a half from now.
And also, to your point, last night, Devin and I went and saw Toto and Journey. And what song did Toto play during their set? But I get by with a little help from my friends.
Right on.
And part of that is because he had, as he said during the show, he had toured with the Ringo Starr All-Star Band in one of their incarnations, and that was one of the songs that they had done, I think, during that tour. But it's the Beatles influences everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere.
Of course, yeah.
Jeff, you've seen any Beatles before?
No, actually, I didn't know a whole lot of that stuff you guys were just talking about, so I was listening.
Cool.
Yeah, I learned something every day on the show.
Yeah. Another interesting 1996 note that I have that sort of connects to that is that one of the only 4 concerts that I saw that year in 1996 was Alan Parsons. And of course, Alan Parsons, aside from being, sort of a little bit of a rock star, a musician, star on his own, was famous for producing albums like Dark Side of the Moon for Pink Floyd and Get Back for the Beatles. And so I ended up seeing him at the Paramount that year.
Oh wow.
He did not tour a lot.
So you only saw 4 shows that year. What 4 shows did you see? Alan Parsons. And then...
Parsons. I saw AC/DC at the beginning of the year. So the Ball Breaker tour that was down Tacoma Dome. I saw the Who did their Quadrophenia tour, and where they did the whole Quadrophenia album. And because that's based on a movie, they brought Billy Idol and Gary Glitter on the tour with them to be up on stage with them singing the parts that the characters that they represent from the movie would have sang in the movie. The bellboy and the manager of the hotel.
Big fan of the Who. You're wearing a Who hat right now.
I am. That's from a different Who concert, but yep. Love those guys. And then the other one, in 1996, you've got in the show notes that Jerry Garcia's ashes were scattered in the Ganges River by his, widow, Deborah, and Bob Weir, and a couple other real good friends of theirs. That year, I also went and saw what was called the Further Festival. And that was sort of the first big post Grateful Dead, tour festival sort of thing for the Deadheads. And that included Bob Weir's Rat Dog, Mickey Hart's Mystery Box, Los Lobos, Hot Tuna, and then Bruce Hornsby.
What a great lineup.
Range, yeah.
Hey, Jeff, what did you see any concerts in '96 that you can recall?
I was just trying to remember. I think in 1996, it's kind of a weird one, but I saw Korn.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Right on.
Before they got big on their self-titled album that had like Chutes and Ladders on it. And
right.
Stuff.
And Eric, did you see any concerts back then?
Oh, I saw a ton of concerts back then for sure, but like smaller bands that you probably haven't heard of, but like I think I saw The Wedding Present like 15 times between 94 and 98. Probably saw them like more times than any other band, but they were fantastic. And I remember going to like Bumbershoot and to Endfest and to Lollapalooza. And so I saw like probably all the big alternative bands at all those shows. And yeah, it was a great time to see shows, because back then festivals were actually kind of affordable, which was cool. Like Bumbershoot back then was like $10 a day kind of thing. And, before it went on pause, it was like $130 a day, something like that.
Yeah, so, easy.
Yeah. And festivals, any festival now is going to be over $100 a day for tickets. And back then it was more like, $20-30 for a ticket. And even in, factoring in inflation, that was still a real bargain.
Definitely. Well, back then you didn't have smartphones to capture it. So, I mean, I don't know. It's expensive these days, but at least I'm getting a good copy of it when I'm there.
Yeah. And to your point, that the Further Festival that I went to that year, I'm pretty sure I only paid about $26.50 for this ticket for 5 bands. So
yeah, I mean, it was really reasonable, and it was a good way to, see a bunch of bands that you wouldn't necessarily have checked out before. Sure. Bumbershoot was fantastic for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw Beck a number of times because of that. I saw, Screaming Trees, Sonic Youth, the Sex Pistols, Pixies when they reunited. So many bands that I probably wouldn't have gotten the chance because they were, too big, playing like arena shows that I wouldn't normally check out, or, they were just, I didn't know that much about them and thought, hey, I'll check it out. Saw Cake, like all these bands, Tom Tom Club. Yeah. It was a really cool thing. And I wish we could get back some of that some way,
Oh, the closest I get to is going to these little bar shows, and if it's like free or $10, and it's like you see 3-4 hours of music. That's
and supporting local music is awesome.
Good is a good thing always.
And real quick, the Further is in reference to Ken Casey's bus, correct?
You are correct. I actually was talking to Devin about that as we were driving over to the studio today. That Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters had their psychedelic bus, which was called Further, which actually was spelled Furthur. It was purposely misspelled. But they, would roll around and do their zany antics in the bus and go from show to show. They were the ones who, of course, were famous for staging the acid tests that the Grateful Dead would play during.
Oh yeah, that's be a trip to be a roadie with those guys.
Absolutely.
And also a name of another of Bob Weir's projects, right?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, Bob Weir and Phil Lesh did the Further project. Yep, after many other projects like the Dead and yeah.
And
anyways, we could talk about that all day. Let's move on.
well, anyways, Always Be My Baby, Mariah Carey, back in the charts here.
More Mariah.
Yeah.
It was the 90s. there was definitely more Mariah.
Yeah, always.
I'm not crazy about this song, but she looks great in this video. I mean, this was peak Mariah, as far as being,
videos.
Yeah. And she's just basically swinging on a rope swing over a pond for this whole thing.
Right.
And it works.
She had as you said, she had a big place in the whole scene, and not just because her voice is fantastic and she had great people writing songs and stuff for her, but that she was able to take advantage of the different medias, the videos, and the different stuff.
Certified 5 times platinum. Jeff, you remember the song Mariah?
Oh yeah. This actually, in the 1995 show, I mentioned this was my favorite Mariah Carey album, but this song's actually produced by Jermaine Dupri, who huge producer of hip hop and R&B in the 90s in general.
Yes.
Well, that was number 5 for the year. I really like number 6. I played this song as well. It's Give Me One Reason, Tracy Chapman.
Yes, love Tracy.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think, maybe thought like Fast Car was going to be her only hit, but she came back strong with this. Give Me One Reason was a really big hit for her. And she is so distinctive. Her voice and her playing is so different than pretty much anything out there. So it's kind of like unlikely success story, but
very unique.
Very unique.
Good.
Yeah.
Give me one reason to stay here, and I'll turn right back around.
Like the minimalistic approach, which like less is good. Yeah, less
right,
is more.
Right. And Fast Car kind of, mind the same formula.
We went, Devin and I went to a little local gig at Lo-Fi a couple nights ago. And in the middle of one of these guys' original songs, they started playing a little snippet of Fast Car.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
And this is off her 4th studio album, New Beginning. This won the Grammy Award for Best Rock Song.
Yeah.
Nominated for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Female Rock Vocal Performance, and at the 1997 Grammy Awards.
She was a smash when she came out.
And then she played with Eric Clapton in 1999 on the very special Christmas Live album.
And he's also on your list of good songs from 1996.
Yep. Jeff, you remember the song?
Oh yeah, huge song. I mean, I don't have it like on my playlist, but when it comes on, I'm like, I'm just jamming to it right now.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah, and 7 years in between big hits, for her. So it must have been very gratifying to have, that kind of real taste of success again after you know, it's not like her fan base ever went away, but you know, for the rest of the world to stand up and pay attention to one of your songs has got to feel good.
I guess I didn't realize it was that far between their
Fast Car was
duets.
1989,
88.
88.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea either. Wow.
But
I'm
Give Me
lost
One
out
Reason
on
came
that.
out in 95 and just was so popular that it carried
Right.
over into the top hits in 96. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, number 7 is The Crossroads, Bone Thugs in Harmony.
Yeah, Bone Thugs and Harmony. This kind of following the same formula as the Mariah Carey Boyz II Men song, in that it's kind of like about people that have passed, basically.
Judgment comes for you. What you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to hide? When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you. Looking for quality, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo got him, and I'm gonna miss everybody out of rolling flow. Like I ain't looked at a while. Like and playing for dust, and they play too deep for beach side. Little legs I got too deep. Tell me your feature the seats, would it please? Marry me by my grand, anywhere you can go. God bless you, working on a plan to heaven. Follow the Lord on 24/7 days. God is who we praise, even though the devil's all up in my face, but he keeping me safe and in my place. Say thanks to the gates we race, but I change the face of judge, and it blesses my soul with books. Grudge because there's no mercy for thugs. Ooh, what can I do?
Yeah, these guys have a unique little thing where they they'll do the fast sort of lyrics, and then they'll elongate the lyrics into sort of a more regular something, but then they'll throw in the da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
It's hip hop, it's rap, but at the same time, it's also like a singing vocal performance too. So very unique.
And debuted at number 2, but stayed on number 1 for 8 consecutive weeks.
Wow.
And then won the Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group.
Right.
Did you have the CD back then?
Oh yeah, East 1999 Eternal. I mean, I was in high school when this came out. I mean, this was like super popular, and this is actually their off their second album. And I mean, I think in the music video they pay homage to Eazy-E, but Eazy-E's really the one who found them.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this was
Bone
a
Thugs
big
and
one.
Harmony. Now these guys are good.
Yeah, the group members were Crazy Bone, Lazy Bone, Busy Bone, and Wishbone.
Right.
True. I mean, a lot of their music was a lot harder
Bone
than
Thugs.
than this one. A lot of the music was more harder gangster rap, but this one was, you know, a little more commercial friendly.
Right.
Well, in 2019, another version using the other group member, Flesh and Bone, was released, and was another big hit. And
see, but if all the band members were the Bones, then who was the Harmony?
They all were the Harmony.
Ah, okay, there you go.
Yeah, the quartet. And it was the most successful song in New Zealand for that year.
Wow.
They really enjoyed it there. Well, number 8 is I Will Always Love You. I Will Love You Always Forever.
I Love You Always Forever.
Donna Lewis.
Feels like I'm standing on the timeless dream of light mists of pale ambrose. Feels like I'm lost in the deep cloud of heavenly scent. Touching, discovering you.
This is from her debut called Now in a Minute, which went platinum. And, you know, this was her only big hit, but a very, very popular song. And I'm really surprised, actually, she didn't have more success than she had, because this song was just everywhere at the time. And she's obviously got a great voice and, you know, is a good singer and a good songwriter. So, you know, she had all the stuff there to be a superstar, but for whatever reason, after this song, kind of dried up.
Well, she was number 2 for 9 weeks with the song, which it was so much competition this year. Hard to maintain to get that number 1 position with Macarena taking every dance floor. but she did get nominated for the Brit Award for Best British Female Artist in 1997. You familiar with the song, Jeff?
Yeah, I really like the chorus in the song. the chorus, and I don't know. I think it's a cool song, and in fact, you know, I recently turned 40, and I put together like a 90s playlist, and this song made the cut.
Nice.
Yeah, this was the highest charting single on the Billboard Hot 100 by a Welsh artist since Bonnie Tyler topped the chart with Total Eclipse of the Heart in 1983. So, you know,
Wow.
Wales has produced a ton of great songwriters and great performers, you know, including Tom Jones, of course, and Donna Lewis and Bonnie Tyler.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, well, she wasn't a singer, but you know,
Performer.
but yeah, a lot.
She was in that one. It wasn't she in the Rock of Ages?
Was she
I
in
believe
that?
she was.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
see, Wales just churns out,
Yeah.
you know, great music.
And I'm part Welsh too, so hey.
And the
carries
funny
on.
thing is, I'm actually part Welsh as well.
Fantastic.
Seriously.
And in 2016, a cover version by Australian pop singer Betty Who topped the U.S. Billboard Dance Club Songs chart.
Betty Who.
Yeah. So song keeps carrying on through the centuries.
Now, is Betty Who different than Betty Boo?
I think a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Betty Boo,
Because I've heard of Betty Boo, but I haven't heard of Betty Who.
Right.
So
right?
interesting.
The next one on the list is "You're Making Me High," Tony Braxton.
Tony.
Not to be confused with Tom Braxton, or I guess it's Tom Paxton.
Yeah, Tony
It's like the-
Braxton.
It'd be hard to confuse those.
It's like
two.
the Betty Who, Betty Boo thing all over again.
There you go.
Now, I remember Tony Braxton got her start in like Christian soul music. I think she was a gospel singer when she started. And this was kind of noteworthy at the time because she kind of stepped out.
Her
and
first departure.
Yeah, and was doing the more pop thing and kind of showing off her sexiness.
Right.
And it paid off, you
I
know?
was going to say, I remember she was a little oddie.
She looks great in this video.
Yeah. Another one like Mariah Carey who found that, you know,
Right.
videos and different media could help her out a lot.
This is from the 1995 film Waiting to Exhale.
That was a huge hit as a movie in '96 and a real cultural touchstone, I think, for the year.
I've got to add it to my list to watch here.
Now, all that said, I think I remember the visuals of this video more than I remember the song itself.
Right.
That's their first #1 single on the Billboard Hot 100 and Hot R&B Hot / Hip Hop Songs charts.
Oh, wow.
Jeff, you remember this song?
I do, and I don't have the awesome technology of having the video in front of me, and I like this video.
Right.
Well, she's wearing like a white cat suit and dancing on
Yeah.
top of a pole, basically,
Yep.
for most of it.
It's
Yeah,
a good one.
Full screen makes this song louder. Yeah.
Baby.
And next on our list is "Twisted" by Keith Sweat.
The innovator of the
Big
new jack swing, as
The
he likes to
new
say.
Jack Swing. Yeah.
The new jack swing, as he likes to say in his Emerald Queen Casino commercials.
You know, I always assumed, despite it being a terrible name to choose, that Keith Sweat was just a stage name. That he chose that because, like, oh, I'm so hot, I'm getting sweaty or whatever. But no, he was born Keith Sweat. So.
Wow. I I didn't know that. I would have assumed that was the stage name as well.
It's the Sweat family.
So
yeah.
good for him for, being proud of his family name, I guess.
Yeah. This is the one song though that they always play underneath the, those Emerald Queen Casino commercials for him. He loves that
Really?
place. Oh yeah,
Huh.
no, he's that Keith Sweat. He'll come to EQC, almost every year if he can, and then they'll of course have little radio commercials, and this is his big hit. So this is always sort of under the bed.
Still
Yeah, I
going
mean-
strong.
I mean, being in high school during this time, you couldn't get through a high school dance without having the DJ play this song.
Right.
Slow dance time.
Mhm.
And VH1 ranked it number 35 of the 40 greatest R&B songs of the 90s.
Wow.
That's pretty big.
I got to say, this is not jogging any memories for me, but this wasn't the kind of thing that I was plugged into at the time. But usually, if it was in the top 40 or whatever, I would have heard it at some point,
Right.
regardless of whether I wanted to or not. But this one, just for whatever reason, didn't stick with me at all.
Yeah, it's not one I frequent on my library either. But neither is this one. Come On and Ride It, The Train by Quad City
Oh.
DJs.
Another huge dance
I
song.
definitely
Huge.
remember this one.
And the
There's a whole
samples.
train thing you did during the dance.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? This is where this came from?
Well, you kind of go around and choo and pull the thing.
Along
Yeah,
with
it's a big song.
Ghost Town DJ's My Boo. I remember it was like big kind of
Almost
one-hit
the
wonder dance tunes at the time. I remember hating this at the time just because it's so dumb, but I gotta admit it's catchy.
And
Yeah.
it samples Barry White's 1974 main theme from the soundtrack of the film Together Brothers. Another one I haven't seen.
Right.
Johnny will tell you he still gets this requested at gigs.
Oh, I bet.
Wow.
It's a dance floor filler for sure, but it really is dumb. I mean, come on, ride the train and ride it is the only lyric in the tune.
No,
They've
I mean,
got, like, a
come on.
breakdown. They've got like a breakdown rap in it, like you get from a lot of these songs.
Right. I was gonna say though that it's
Oh,
sort
here
of
we
just
go.
an obvious innuendo, right?
Right.
And I gotta listen to this next time I'm riding the train to nowhere,
Come on, ride that train and ride it.
taking the light rail. Pitchfork Media included the song as one of their 10 actually good 90s jock jams,
Oh, all right.
and it's played in a variety of events.
But is it actually good?
So
That's up for debate, I
the
think.
jury is still out.
we're running out of time, but
Yeah.
we're definitely going to continue 1996 part 2 next week, and it's great having both of you on. But we got a few more minutes. Any announcements or shout outs, Jeff, to make him?
Well, just real quick on 1996, I saw that you had on for 1996 albums Metallica Load, and since I live in Grace Harbor, actually Metallica did a giveaway that year, and through MTV, and they would go to a town and they would play a concert, and a guy from Aberdeen actually won.
Oh, wow.
Aberdeen, Washington.
And Aberdeen
remember that.
got a concert.
Yeah, and MTV came out to Aberdeen and they filmed the concert, and Kurt Loder was out there doing the live from MTV at some little small tavern in Aberdeen.
That's cool. I actually met Kurt Loder at the free Pearl Jam show at Magnuson Park, the Drop in the Park show. He was there, of course, covering for MTV News.
Wow, I'll have to find this on the internet. These videos that hopefully are out there.
Yeah, it's out there. You can find it.
Very cool. Very cool.
And
Aberdeen is famous for being the home of Nirvana, the birthplace of Nirvana.
Right.
nearby is Ocean Shores, and Johnny's playing out there. April 6th, there's a karaoke at the Seabrook, And then April 12th, there's an open mic at Pirates Cove. So check it out. Also, yeah, if you haven't been on the Viva ENT Talk Radio Rock, Pop, and Soul Facebook group, come join us today. It's really fun. So,
Fun.
Awesome.
Great group.
Well, guys, we're just about out of time.
All right.
So let's leave everybody with the number 12 song for the year, Everything But the Girl, Missing. You know, they started as kind of a folk pop indie group. And then when their song Missing got remixed and had a dance beat put to it, it became a really massive hit for them and kind of launched a whole new career in electronica for the group.
Huh.
And in fact, there's a version of this that doesn't have the dance beat. That's just way more acoustic. That is, you know, the same song essentially, but minus the beat. That wasn't a big hit. But you know, the power of the remix in the 90s.
I don't think I've heard of these guys.
Really?
Yeah.
This was a really big hit and great vocal from Tracy Thorn. And a great one to leave us with, because we'll be missing you guys until we come back for part 2 of 1996.
Yeah, tune in on Thursdays at 5. Yep. Yeah, we'll got to bring you back, Jeff, for more history of the 90s.
Let's do it.
Same with you, Darren. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
For coming on.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Hope everyone has a great
Thank
evening
you.
out there in Seattle and beyond, and take care.
Back on the train, that's why did I come again? Can I confess, I've been hanging around the old address. Years have proved to offer nothing since you moved. You're long gone, but I can't move on, and I miss you. Like the deserts miss the rain, and I miss you. Yeah. Like the deserts miss, and I miss you.